Hello everyone, my name is Irene and I hope you have a wonderful time during this March reading all the mysteries and having the time of your life. As it is March Mystery Madness now, and in 2026 the theme is Mysteries Around the World, I would like to introduce some mysteries from my part of the world, where I was born and raised. Now I live in California for almost 10 years. But I was born in city of Odessa on the south of Ukraine. And fun fact, my city was actually mentioned in one of Sherlock Holmes' books, no less than The Scandal in Bohemia. On the first page, there is... From time to time, I heard some vague accounts of his doings, Sherlock Holmes' doings, of his summons to Odessa in the case of the Trepov murder, of his clearing up of the singular tragedy of the Atkinson brothers in Trincomalee, and finally of the mission which had accomplished so delicately and successfully for the reigning family of Holland. So, this is really fun fact. My city is and was a big port on the Black Sea and one of the strategic points in trade of this time of Russian Empire. So it was a city full of people who try to take advantage of other ones. So it kind of was a big criminal city, as actually every big port does. Think San Francisco or Marseille or something less. And yeah, there were a lot of famous criminals in our part of the world. And there are lots of mysteries which take place in Odessa, but none of them are very sadly translated to English, so I can't introduce you to them. Though I would like to talk about two authors and two series that I really enjoy. And first one is a newer series from Ukraine. So this is The Silver Bone by Andrey Kurkov. This is the first of the Kyiv Mysteries series, which is very exciting. Now 3 books are published. This book actually was on long list for Booker Prize, I think in 2024. I am not sure it belongs on that list, and I think that it may be disservice to this book to put her on this big list, because this is definitely a very interesting historical mystery without pretending being something else or something bigger. It's not a philosophical book. It's not, very important book in the style that Booker Prize usually do. But this is a wonderful mystery series which set in the kind of exotic for English-speaking person part of the world. And as I can say, from my point of view, it actually provides a lot of historical accuracy to the time and place where it takes place. So this takes place in Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, then the part of Russian Empire on the brink of the 20th century, so during revolutionary times. It takes place in 1990, I believe. Again, revolution, and if I would try to introduce this book to people who read a lot, but maybe not mysteries, I would say it's kind of White Guard of Michael Bulgakov, I guess you will say it, but with a mystery inside it. It has very similar vibe, and it's in the same place and the same time that White Guard by Mikhail Bulgakov. So the beginning of this book is kind of gory and a little bit violent. Well, a lot violent, because at the first sentences, Samson, who is main protagonist, his father was killed by Cossacks, which was one of the military forces which try to gain power in Kyiv at that time. So his father was killed, and he lost his ear in the battle. So he was struck, but the saber kind of misplaced and cut his ear instead of killing him. His father was the last of living relatives. His mother and sister died not long ago from flu or something of that kind. So he lived alone now, and during some kind of complicated events, he began to work for the police of Kyiv. So I don't want to talk in lots of details about what happened in this book, because this book, as it is introduction to the series, it's less about the mystery but more about the characters, the vague, like the really huge cast of characters, the political situation, the historical situation, and a little bit of let's say fantasy or mystic stuff, because the ear that was caught from Samson's head, he has it in the tin box, and this ear can still hear stuff and feel when someone touches it. So well, it gives this book again a little bit of Mikhail Bulgakov flair, because mystic and historical fiction is like kind of two main pillars that Bulgakov's prose stand on, and this book is kind of similar to that. What I can say about this book, it's really engaging. The characters are likable, it's not too gory. The beginning of the book is really violent, but after that it's not even like that at all. There is a rather sweet and very, very slow romance. Nothing really happens in the first book. And it kind of evokes the place and the feel of the place and of the time, which actually a good historical fiction has to do. And also there is some mystery, and there are like procedures and daily stuff of Kyiv police of this time, which is bizarre. And yeah, I think it's a very interesting and worth your time mystery series. The second book I took from the library, The Stolen Heart, it looks like that. And also there is a third book published already, which I haven't read, but I will put the cover here. So I think that this is a wonderful series, and if you want to read something, from Ukrainian author, this is definitely worth your time. I had a great time with this book. I enjoyed it very much, and yeah, it is great mystery. It's like maybe 4 out of 5 stars. I can't say that payoff from the mystery is as big as from the historical accuracy and engagement writing. So the mystery in this book is kind of, it's also there, but it's not the main point of view on this book, which is okay for the first book in the series. And yeah, again, I enjoyed it very much. And if you like Mikhail Bulgakov or want to read historical mystery from my part of the world, or just interested in historical mysteries from some rather exotic for English-speaking people countries, this is the one that definitely you can pick up. Now I want to talk about another series which is more old, and it was one of my favorite mystery detective series of all time for like few decades. But I want to take a little bit of time and say that I would never promote Russian-speaking or Russian author at this time when my country is in war with Russia. If this author, so the author of the book that I want to talk about is Boris Akunin. This is a pen name for Grigory Chkhartishvili, which is Georgian name. He lived in Moscow all his life, and he was published in Russian Federation. But after invasion of Ukraine, he moved to London and he protested against it, and he was very vocal about his supporting of Ukraine. Now he is kind of not in person arrested in Russian Federation, and they want to put him to prison for his words and for his support of Ukraine. So I think morally I have a right to promote this author and talk about this, especially because it was one of my favorite authors of all time, and I really think these mysteries are underhyped in English-speaking society. Now I do not have them in all the same edition, but bear with me. This is actually I think there are like 15 or 16 books in the series. This is rather large series of books. And the main protagonist is Erast Fandorin. So this an Erast Fandorin mystery series. Erast Fandorin is in some books he is official policeman or government worker. In some books he is private detective who lived in Russian Federation, who lived in Russian Empire around beginning of last part of 19th century, beginning of 20th century. This is the first book of the series, The Winter Queen, and Guardian told that think Tolstoy writing James Bond with the logical rigor of Sherlock Holmes. I'm not sure I can describe it like that. This series is interesting because every book of the series kind of work in different subgenre of the mysteries. So one of them is spy mystery, another one is closed circle mystery or closed room mystery. A few of them are secret societies mysteries. Stuff like that. Overall, it covers a lot of subgenres and it differs a little bit from book to book because it tries to do things that new to this protagonist. The first one is more about secret societies. Erast Fandorin here is very, very young. This is his first job. And though this book was published first, and it is very good, I'm not sure this is the best part to start the series, to understand do you like it or not, because this book differs a lot from all other books. The character of the protagonist is very different because he is so young. In later books, he is much older. He doesn't have his quirks, his methods of works are different. But again, this is the first book of the series. I think it is very good, and it the blurb. A young law student commits suicide in broad daylight in Moscow's Alexander Gardens. But this is no ordinary death, for the young man was the son of an influential industrialist. Erast Fandorin, a hot-headed new recruit to the Criminal Investigation Department, is assigned to the case. Brilliant, young and sophisticated, Fandorin embarks on the investigation that will take him from the partial mansions of Moscow to the seedy back streets of London in his hunt for the conspirators. Again, this is a wonderful book, but maybe don't start with it. So these are two books that I think you can start with. First is Murder on the Leviathan. Leviathan is a ship. Erast Fandorin is one of the passengers. But the main protagonist here is not Erast Fandorin. It is Commissioner Gosh, who is called to solve the crime of the century. And he is working with people on the ship because this is closed circle mystery, because this is cruise ship. I think this book is wonderful. If you like original closed circle mysteries of Agatha Christie or maybe some Japanese authors, I think this one will work for you. And also it may be easier for people who are not used to Russian names, because this is very multinational, multicultural cast of the characters here. So it will be kind of easier to read, but there is no deep dive into Russian culture and Russian history, because again, multicultural cast of characters. In this book, this is a political murder, and this talks about revolution and revolutionists and terrorists of Russian Revolution. And there is a murder and terrorist plot that is uncovered by Erast Fandorin, who in this book is the state councillor, who he works for the government. He is much older, he's in his, I'd say, 40s or maybe 30s. So this is kind of very different period of time of the other books. But it is a deep dive in historical fiction, in history of Russia. And I think it will be interesting to everyone who is interested in that part, Another one that I would like to talk about is Turkish Gambit. This is a spy thriller. It takes place during Russo-Turkish War, and Erast Fandorin is on the front, and he is working to uncover who is the mole in Russian camp. And the main protagonist here is a young girl who dressed up as a man and tried to get to her fiancé at the front, and she would be in a huge trouble if Erast Fandorin wouldn't help her. But then when he helped her and they became friends and they reached her fiancé together, she stayed at the front in the camp, and she kind of became the star of society of high officers there, and she takes part in uncovering the mystery. This is a very adventurous, very fast-pacing book, and again, it's very historical accurate, and I think you will gain a lot of knowledge of historical facts reading this book, but also had a lot of fun because cast of characters is vast and interesting and different, and the young adventurous protagonist is very lovely. This is one of my favorite books. Also, if you would ever consider, there is a TV adaptation, and I think it's wonderful. I think you can watch it with subtitles. It would be amazing. It's capture the spirit of this book, which is kind of fun and engaging and fast-pacing, and yeah, it's a very fun book. I thought that I had another one, but I can't find it, but I will put the cover here for you to see. This is The Coronation. This is another book that I highly recommend from this series. From here, main protagonist is a butler in Russian imperator court, and it's kind of the remains of the day / Downton Abbey meets mystery thriller. Because something happened in the royal family, and Fandorin is asked to help to uncover the truth. Again, this book is wonderful, it's engaging, and I think this series, so each book of the series has different main protagonists. Erast Fandorin is the main figure in each of them, kind of like Agatha Christie. There is no book that Hercule Poirot tells us about the story. There's also always different protagonists. Here it is the same. Now, one thing that I want to mention. Grigory Cherchishvili, the author of this book, so Boris Akunin is the pen name, he was Japanese. So he studied the culture and language of Japan, and he was actually they gave him some medals or stuff for Russian-Japanese relationships, because he was kind of huge. He tells a lot about Japanese culture in amazing way in his books. And there are few books from the series where Erast Fandorin spent time in Japan, and he has his partner / butler from Japan called Masa, and they work together kind of like Holmes and Watson. I would like you not to start with few books of the series that take place in Japan, because I guess this is not the best way to start. These books are quite different from all other books in the series. But again, this series is good because it so differs from book to book. You can easily find something for everyone in it. So yeah, these are two of my right now favorite authors who are writing mysteries from my part of the world. So from Ukraine and from Russia. And I think you will enjoy both of the series very much. And I hope you'll have a wonderful March. And yeah, see you soon. Bye.